Charles Soule and Ramon Rosana set up the Crimson Reign as Leia meets Qi'Ra for the first time, told by the Crimson Dawn crime lord to keep holding out hope for Han Solo, as the smuggler is revealed to still be alive. Charles Soule follows up War of the Bounty Hunters with an issue that wastes no time in transitioning us over into the Crimson Reign event, getting Qi'Ra to interact with Leia properly for the first time ever and share some old stories about Han and how he changed her life. I really like that Soule explored Leia's loss of hope when she thinks Han is dead, and how along with everything else she's been through since the destruction of her homeworld has kind of hardened her to the thought of hope ever returning, and how the rebellion can even win against an insurmountable odd like the Empire. Qi'Ra being used as the catalyst here to get Leia to believe again was really interesting, and I like how she used Han in a way that was kind of beneficial for both parties. It's also interesting how Soule uses Qi'Ra and how she's aware of her place in the universe and doesn't think anyone does anything for free or without an ulterior motive. It's kind of that sort of cynical look that Han had for a long time, but one he actually ended up breaking the cycle on. It's an interesting facet for the character that I'm looking forward to continuing over in Crimson Reign. Ramon Rosana continues their fantastic character-focused artwork, sparing no detail in the character designs and the cramped setting of the Falcon's quarters, which make for an engaging and intimate story. Star Wars issue 18 was a fantastic dialogue and character-focused issue that alluded to a lot of the big things coming up in the ongoing and in the Crimson Reign event series, while also providing a really great look at Han's early life and his character development. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Star Wars issue 18 finds the Millennium Falcon humming through space as 3PO tells Lando that Chewbacca and Leia seem to be distressed, wanting to offer them comfort, but Lando tells them to leave them be, since that's not what they need right now. Leia meanwhile tells Chewie that she doesn't mean to sound like Lando, but after everything that has happened to them, she thinks that hope is for suckers. She knows that she had Han right there in her hands, and if she only had 60 more seconds, she could have freed him from the carbonite. She reveals that for a while now she's felt like a droid, just walking and talking and doing what the rebellion needs her to do, but then they got the message from Holdo that Han was still alive, and she saw him right there in front of her, and it made her feel like an actual person again. She is sorry she almost gave up hope on Han, but then he fell and now he is dead. She hugs Chewie, not knowing what to do now, as Lando meanwhile plans on getting Leia and Chewie back to the Rebel fleet before they leave to see if Jabba was actually able to pick up the talkie droid they dumped out above Qi'Ra, and if they did, maybe they can get away from the Rebels and use the droid to fix Lobot and get him back to normal. Lando, however, knows that at first they gotta get the others home, and while he's not happy that Han is gone, he is used to handling his feelings solo. Before they can leave, however, the Vermilion jumps into their orbit. Leia wants Lando to jump them out of the area, but Crimson Dawn's ship is blocking their systems with something new. Qi'Ra contacts the Falcon, telling them that their hyperdrive was disabled by one of their agents during their time aboard the Executor, hoping Lando will pass on her apologies to L3. Qi'Ra says that she wants to meet and will come on their ship alone, and her people will withdraw to a different area of space. Leia wants the ship released, not wanting to talk to the woman, but Qi'Ra knows that they have a lot to talk about since they both love the same man. Qi'Ra comes aboard alone, finding it a pleasure to meet the princess, having heard a lot of extraordinary things about her. Lando searches Qi'Ra, knowing that she's done quite well for herself since they last met, but she knows what happened to him at Cloud City. But Lando knows that's only a temporary setback, but Qi'Ra knows his whole life seems to be a temporary setback. Lando only finds a data stick and a bottle of wine. Qi'Ra says that the stick will unlock the hyperdrive and they can leave whenever they want with her as well, and they could turn her into the rebels if they choose, but all she wants to do is talk about Han with Leia. Qi'Ra does say it only has to be between her and Leia though. Lando warns Leia not to trust her since even without weapons, she could kill her with her bare hands, and Leia knows that she saw the woman hold her own against Darth Vader. Leia doesn't trust her but will keep her at a distance, wanting Lando to go and check the data stick and get the ship running so they can get out of there if anything happens. But Lando knows that if something does happen with Qi'Ra, it'll be too late. Qi'Ra wants to sit and have a drink of the flame out she brought, telling Leia how her and Han used to drink it back on Corellia, but Leia shoots the bottle, destroying it, demanding the woman talk, so Qi'Ra apologizes for what happened. Leia is angry since supposedly Qi'Ra cared for Han, and if that was true, why did she do all this and steal him and try to auction him off? Qi'Ra says she didn't want things to go like this, and she did everything she could. She reveals that she took Han, but never intended him to actually be handed over to who won the auction, wanting to give him to Leia all along, having arranged for word to reach her about the auction, and she even tried distracting Darth Vader so Leia could get Han and escape. But when that didn't work, she burned valuable Crimson Dawn agents to ensure the Empire would be occupied while they freed Han from the Executor, telling Leia of Boku's attack on the Imperial ship as well as the Imperial officer she had allow them on board the Star Destroyer. She knows that she did everything she could to give them a chance, but Leia says that she could have just given Han to them. Qi'Ra knows that wouldn't have gotten her anything out of that deal, and Han Solo was an opportunity for her, and outside of that, she did want to see her get Han back, but her goals came first. Leia knows that she used Han, and Qi'Ra doesn't deny it, and would do it again, while Leia would never do all of that, and it's why Han is better off with Leia. Qi'Ra says that she manipulates people to get what she wants, while Leia inspires them, and she would do it Leia's way if she could, but Leia is a princess, while she's just a scrum rat from Corellia, so she does what she knows. Leia thinks that she's being manipulated right now, but Qi'Ra knows she isn't doing that, wishing things had gone differently since she had no love for the Empire, and Han is a rebel hero, and it's the ending he deserves, even if he would never admit it. As they enter the quarters of the Falcon, she knows that had Han stayed with her, he would have walked a darker path, but with Leia, Han got to be the person she always knew he could be. Qi'Ra wants to tell Leia a story, telling her about the time back on Corellia years ago when Han got into a fight with a group of older kids who were bullying a smaller boy, earning a beating himself, and he probably would have been killed had Lady Proxima's goons not showed up. After the fight, Han met with Qi'Ra on a rooftop as the woman knows that Han has never done anything like that for someone before. She asked why he helped the boy for nothing in return. Han says that no one is ever going to help anyone else unless it gets them something in return, and it's the way of life down there. But he also figures it's the same way of life in space or at the top of the fanciest tower on the fanciest planet in the galaxy. But he knows that only for a few minutes there, for that boy, it wasn't like that anymore, and maybe it doesn't have to be like that and could be different, and you've just got to start somewhere. Leia wants to know why she was told this, since she knew Han was a good man and doesn't expect someone like Qi'Ra to understand someone wanting to help without expecting something in return. Qi'Ra tells the princess that she really doesn't know her, but Leia is done having her time wasted, contacting Lando and wanting him to get the ship ready to take Qi'Ra to the rebellion for trial. Qi'Ra wants to tell her one more thing, telling Leia that Han Solo is still alive. Leia says that she saw him die, but Qi'Ra knows she actually only saw him fall, and he was actually rescued by Boba Fett, who returned him to Jabba the Hutt on Tatooine, hanging the carbonite frozen man on his wall like a trophy. Leia doesn't buy it, but Qi'Ra reveals that she put a tracker on Han, and Leia will hear about it soon enough through the Alliance contacts in Jabba's palace. Leia can't believe it as Chewie arrives, learning of the news as well and dropping his handcuffs in disbelief. Qi'Ra wonders if they are going to take the Falcon to go and get Han from Jabba, but Leia knows that Han will need to wait there since the rebellion needs her now. Qi'Ra tries to leave, saying that she agrees with Leia since no one will touch Jabba's prized possession now, and he's probably safer than they are. She offers her help when it comes time to get Han back, since Crimson Dawn has contacts and resources, but Leia wonders what makes her think that she gets to go home. Qi'Ra knows that she can't help Leia save Han from a rebel brig, and can be useful to the Alliance in many ways as leader of Crimson Dawn. Before Qi'Ra leaves, Leia asks if the story she told her about Han was true, but Qi'Ra doesn't say, merely saying goodbye to Princess Leia.